This is Mike Covell. I'm the author of the book Trend Following and the Complete Turtle Trader. Please support the original works. Don't buy pirated copies. Buy your original copies from Amazon.
各位网友下午好，今天我们非常高兴地请到了著名作家 Mike Covell 来到我们的演播室。他推出了他的非常好的一本书，这也是在美国亚马逊上这是非常畅销的一本书，也就是趋势投资。所以给我们大家 say hello to everyone.
Hello, thanks for having me today. Look forward to speaking with everyone in China.
我相信如果你正在看这个 video 或者看这个视频，你一定是一个专业的投资者，或者你只是一个投资爱好者。但是无论你是专注于基本面投资，还是专注于一些交易以及技术面的投资，我相信 Mike Covell 的趋势投资这本书一定会对你非常的帮助。因为以一个专业视角来说，我相信里面无论是他对于趋势投资的一些解释，还是一些哲学的一些非常的名言，相信对大家都是非常有益的。好了，现在就开始我们的交流。So, welcome to our studio, Mike Covell.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I think it's very lucky for the Chinese investor to share your experience here.
I'm very lucky to be able to speak to such a large audience.
And I think it's your first time to come to the mainland of China. The DZH have organized some activities for you, and you have met some institutional investors these days. So I think not most good traders or investors want to share their experience to others. And why would you like to share your secret weapon to others?
That's a good way to phrase it. I'm not sure there's a secret weapon in trading. Right? I enjoy teaching people what I've learned, passing along information. I have an educational business to my life. I've written some books, but it's fun to teach people how.
It's fun to you.
It's fun. It's fun. Why not? That's fun. And there's really no secret. Some people will do it and some people won't. It's like everything in life. Some people want to excel and some people quit.
Yes. Why do other people think it's a secret? Other great traders or investors?
I think sometimes that's a little bit of a marketing hype. People like to create some buzz and some excitement. Look, don't get me wrong. Great trading, like any endeavor in life, takes practice, it takes work, it takes effort, it takes a good set of rules. But anybody can do this. There is no great secret. The secret, if there's anything, is that there's no secret.
Okay, maybe the making money is not important for you, and teaching others is a fun to you. Maybe it's just a philosophy of your life, on your life.
Well,
Can you agree with me? You just mean happiness is the most important thing.
Well, happiness is the most important, but I do enjoy being a capitalist too. I enjoy making a little money. And my observations in Beijing so far is it seems like Chinese are interested in making money as well.
Okay.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, it makes sense. And you think, and so about the philosophy, you have told me yesterday that the book is not just about how to trade, it's just about the philosophy of the trading.
Yeah, sometimes I think people immediately think it's all about rules. It's more than just rules. It's more than just a system. It's about having a solid philosophy of what you're going to do, a solid personal psychology. If you don't have the philosophy, if you don't have the psychology, you can give someone a set of rules to trade, and they really might not know what to do. Rules alone are not it. It's the 6 inches between your ears that are just as important.
Yes, can you summarize the philosophy of the trading life?
I can summarize trend following philosophy in a way where there's a famous video that I play from Bruce Lee, and he talks about being like water.
Being like water?
Be like water.
Okay.
Water can flow, water can crash, right?
I know, yes.
And you want to be like water. Fill up the teapot, be like water, be flexible, flow. Flow with what happens. So if the markets are going this way, you're going this way. If the markets are going that way, you're going this way. You don't ask why, you just go with the flow. That's a trend following philosophy.
Okay, it makes sense. And I think you mentioned the total traders in your book. And what's the total trader?
The The turtle trader is a fun story. So a very famous and wealthy trader in the early 1980s, he had made several $100 million by his late 30s. And him and his partner went to see an old movie, a famous movie called Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. I'm sure many Chinese have seen this movie. And it was about taking someone off the street, someone with no experience, giving them rules, and then saying, hey, go follow these rules. So this very famous trader, Richard Dennis, literally hired inexperienced people from want ads in the paper. They responded. He trained them. He gave them his rules. And
they call them turtle traders.
They called him. He nicknamed his students the turtle traders, and so they all became very successful traders, and they learned trend following methods.
And I know 20 students graduated from the school, and not all of them are successful. Why?
Well, once again, Mr. Dennis proved that you could give people rules, and they could follow those rules. And it was easy to follow the rules while they worked for him, because he was saying you must follow everything. When they went out on their own, some of them let their own personal psychologies that
emotion
maybe they weren't as strong as Richard Dennis, and they didn't do as well. Some of the students have done fantastic and still trade today, 25 years later.
Okay, yeah. It's awful.
A great example of nurture beating nature.
Okay, and let's talk about Chinese. And you have met Chinese for 3 days or 4 days. And have you researched Chinese capital market?
I've not researched specifically Chinese capital markets.
Do you think the trend foreign strategy is effective in China?
Well, let me take a step back. So I've not specifically researched China markets, but from my perspective, trend following works on all markets, because all markets are made up of people, and there's no difference between the people of China and the people of America and the people of London or the people of Tokyo. People are people. There's greed and fear, and so maybe China markets will mature, and I'm sure they will mature more as time goes on, but all markets across all cultures are the same.
Okay, but I think there is some difference from the investor or traders between the investor maybe in Singapore or Japan. And you have met some institutional investors these days, just like the biggest mutual fund, AMC, China AMC and ICBC. So what's your impression about them, some specific?
Well, I have had the opportunity to travel Asia and speak with investors in Tokyo, and Hong Kong, and Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, and now Beijing. And I do see some differences. Perhaps I see in some of the other countries a little more conservative, and I teach them about trend following. They learn about trend following, but maybe they don't seem as excited. Whereas Chinese investors that I've met...
They're excited?
Chinese investors are very excited. So whether it's the forum the other day or the institutional clients that I met with yesterday, Chinese investors, Chinese traders seem very excited to learn about trend following, which is a little unique. Unique.
Yes, but I think there is little investing tools in China, just like futures, which can help investors to make money in bear market. I think they do not get used to short the stocks or other commodity futures. What do you think about it?
Well, patience. Look, China capital markets will mature like other capital markets have matured. Chinese investors and traders will learn the techniques that other traders have learned around the world. I don't think there's anything unique about China other than it's growing like crazy. So I think all that growth will come with maturity in the markets, and a lot of the experiences and techniques that I've seen in other countries, I have absolutely no doubt will be successful in China.
So you think the trend foreign strategy will be successful in China?
Absolutely. In fact, in talking with some of the Chinese investors and traders, many of them brought up examples of a very famous speculator trader in China who always wanted to buy markets as they were getting close to the limits.
Yes, absolutely
Right. So this understanding of buying on momentum, buying on trends, seems to already be a part of the Chinese thinking. That's a good thing from my perspective.
But
It makes it easier to teach.
yes, but as I know, just most of the people in the mutual fund, maybe they are fund manager and very successful fund manager, and the investor is based on the fundamental research, not just focus on the price. And yes,
Well, that's true, and I met many of those people in the last couple days. However, when I went ahead and introduced them to something new, they didn't immediately say, like in some of the other countries, you kind of knew they weren't going to adopt it. What I felt like from some of the Chinese investors was, wow, this is different, this is new,
they want to learn
we might
it.
do this.
Okay.
So I felt there was more of an acceptance to trend following.
Yes, they sure do accept the trend following because I think they have a bad performance in these days. Yes. I found an interesting thing is that I found most turtle traders are not from business school. Why?
Because you don't need any particular degree or experience to be a great trader.
But maybe they are graduate from science, maybe major in science.
Well, there's definitely an advantage from a trading perspective if you are curious, if you're a skeptic, if you want to know how things work. So it's pretty easy to see that maybe if you have a science background, maybe you have a head start.
The quantitative
Right,
side.
you have a head start, but it doesn't mean that if you have a literature background or a sociology background, you can still learn, but maybe the science background gives you a head start.
Do the people from the science school have the advantage over this student from business school?
I think the only advantage they have is that they know how to think skeptically. They know how to be curious, perhaps more than other university type degrees.
Yes, I think you have an MBA degree.
I have an MBA degree, and it was
Yes.
not very valuable for trading.
Yes, and it's impressive that you think the trend following is for trader but not for investor. So, what's the difference from the trader and investor?
Well, trend following is for everyone. Okay, so investor and trader are labels. So a trader will buy and sell. So a trader always has an exit strategy.
Investor don't have exit strategy.
No, investors
Why?
just buy and hope that it goes up forever, and that
And
doesn't.
Buffett is an investor. He buys and holds.
Yeah, that's the part of the myth. Mr. Buffett also develops complex derivative strategies with Goldman Sachs, which doesn't have anything to do with buy and hold. He also has the ability to call the president when there's a problem in the economy and say, I need a bailout. So that's not
I
exactly.
haven't heard of that.
Yes, well, it's happened many times. So that's not exactly an investor in the classic sense. Mr. Buffett does sell, but many investors don't.
He does sell the
Absolutely,
stocks.
he sells.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So,
He's got a good PR agent.
PR agent?
Mr. Buffett has a good press relations agent, a good
Oh.
PR agent, yeah.
Okay.
A nice story.
Okay. So, I got two specific examples. Yes. One is that one of my trader friends, and he wrote a message on Weibo, the Chinese Twitter, and he says that you can't make all the money in the commodity market, future market. For example, when the price falls down and you hold a short position, so you make some profits, and you will not exist soon because you want to make more money, but the price goes up and you make and then you exit, you make little money than the bedrock price, and you just cut both ends. What's your opinion about his views?
Well, trend following is not a strategy that you apply to one market alone. So you have to have a diversified portfolio. In your example, it's a classic example of, let's say the market's going down, you're making money as the market drops, then it comes back up. You're never going to call the bottom. Just like if the market goes up, you're never going to call the top. You're always going to get out after the top. And so you're never going to get in. You're never going to get in early. You're never going to get out at the top. So what you're looking for is you're looking for the middle
The
part.
middle meat.
The middle meat. Yes, you know it. And how would you say the middle meat in Chinese? I would like to hear that expression.
Chinese has not a specific name for middle meat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, maybe I just like hearing you say it, but we'll let you go.
Yes, you told me yesterday.
Yes, it's very nice.
Okay, and another specific example is about gold. Gold, yes. Gold suffered the biggest one-day decline this week, as you know, I think. And maybe some investors suffered a big loss in this investment. Maybe somebody make profits because they short the gold. And the price goes up from this Wednesday to this Friday. And if I hold a long position before the rapid decline in last Friday, and what should I do now according to the trend foreign strategy?
Well, if you were an investor in gold and you had no strategy to begin with except you just happened to own gold, it's a little late to become a trend following investor.
If I hold the long position of gold commodity futures.
Right. If you hold this long position but you really don't have a strategy for why you're in, it's a little late to become a trend following trader halfway in. So you're better to have a strategy before you ever bought gold. You know when you're going to exit.
Yeah.
So a trend following trader always knows when they're going to exit before they ever get in. Does that make sense?
How do you know?
You have to know. Those are the rules. When you buy a market, you always have two forms of a stop to say I'm gonna get out if I got a small loss, or I'm gonna get out with a gain. But you always have to have a way to get out before you get in with trend following. As we mentioned, a typical investor doesn't have an exit strategy. And how many people in the last decade have learned the pain across the world not having an exit strategy?
So if I hold a short position before the rapid decline, and I already make some profits now, and what should I do?
Well,
maybe the price will goes up. Maybe it will goes down.
Right. Trend following is not about giving tips. So I would rather advise you to say, if you don't know why you're in the market, you probably need to get out.
And Mr. Cowell told me yesterday that he was not good at writing when he wrote this book. So of course he's very humble. So, but I think he was very good at picking some useful quotes in this book. So, what's your favorite?
My favorite quote of probably all of the quotes that I put in my book comes from a trader named Ed Sakota, and his quote, and I'm paraphrasing a little, was, "Everybody gets what they want in the markets." And I would say, and life. So right now, you and I want to be here at this interview. If we didn't want to be here, we'd be somewhere else. If you're currently losing money in the markets, I would argue that you want to lose money in the markets because you've not gone ahead and taken the time to learn the proper strategy. So if you're losing, it's because you want to lose, because you've not done the homework.
Yes, it's meaningful.
It's very philosophical.
Yes.
Very zen.
My favorite is that, and you can't undo the past, and you can't predict the future.
Absolutely. All we have is the moment of right now.
Some Chinese investors, he doesn't know how to research the balance sheet. So I think the trend following strategy is very useful for him.
It is, because sometimes it's very difficult to trust balance sheet information. You don't necessarily know whether the company is being truthful.
Yeah.
Perhaps there could be some fraud. So with trend following, you don't have to trust the balance sheet. All you have to do is trust the price of the market, trust the price of the stock.
The price is the most important thing.
The price reflects everything, right? The balance sheet could be saying one thing, the PE ratio could be saying one thing, but the price is what you make your decisions off. That's where you make your money, is off making your buy and sell decisions off the price movement. So it's terribly important, and I think it's a really, really useful tool for Chinese investors and traders.
Can you recommend some books you like to our spectator?
Sure.
Maybe 3 to 5.
Sure. Some books that I really think are great for traders to read. Probably number one is Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. It's an older book from the 1920s, 1930s. I think they should also read the Market Wizards series by Jack Schwager.
It's mentioned many times in your book.
Absolutely. Those should be read. A non-trading book is written by a business consultant named Seth Godin, and the title of the book is called Linchpin, and it really talks about the personal psychology of it's like you're personally responsible for your success, and that's terribly important. And one website that I would recommend, which just gives a really good philosophical, psychological foundation, even though it's not built for it, it's great for traders, is a website called zenhabits.net. Great website.
时间过得很快，然后呢，我们的今天的谈话就要结束了。但是呢，我们依然感谢 Mr. Cowell 来参加我们的节目。如果你希望得到更多的信息，请你上正版书店，或者说直接到亚马逊网站来购买我们的书籍。好，今天再次谢谢 Mr. Cowell and say goodbye to our readers.
I thank you for having me today. It's been a pleasure, and goodbye to my Chinese audience. And I hope you all become successful trend following traders.